tell you all about my favorite anime. No, it is not one of the many Gundam series. No, it is not Dragon Ball Z, which as much as I like that series, it really needs to be put to bed, I'm sorry. No, it is not Attack on Titan. How could it be? I've never seen it. No, my favorite anime is a series known as Inuyasha.
Inuyasha is the brainchild of Japanese manga artist Rumiko Takahashi, who was also responsible for the immensely popular Rama 1/2 and Maison Ikkoku, both of which I am not very familiar with other than the fact that Rama 1/2 is more action comedy, much like Kung Fu Panda, and Maison Ikkoku is more of a romantic comedy. Inuyasha is a complete tonal shift. While it does have its comedic moments, it's very dark and serious and dramatic. The manga covers 56 volumes, whereas the anime adaptation covers nearly 180 episodes over the course of 8 seasons.
One of my only gripes with the anime is that nearly half of it is pure filler. There isn't a whole lot of filler in the first season, but it really hits in the third season, and especially the fourth season, which, other than one or two quick moments that advance the plot, is nothing but filler. My other gripe is that they really don't discuss the consequences of time travel. Yes, I said time travel. You see, one of the main characters constantly travels back and forth between the modern age and the feudal era, and you would think that just by Kagome being there, that would cause all sorts of paradoxes and anomalies. But I'm getting off track.
Now this is going to be a review of the first movie, of which there are 4 movies, each one non-canon, but I feel that I should bring some newcomers up to speed. 50 years prior, Inuyasha, half-demon, was trying to take an object called the Shikon no Tama, aka the Jewel of the Four Souls, so that he could use his power to become a full demon. He was stopped by a priestess named Kikyo, whom Inuyasha was kind of having a fling with, who sealed him to a tree with an arrow before dying from some serious wounds. See, Inuyasha and Kikyo were turned against each other by a serious big bad Naraku, who was created by a bandit named Onigumo, whose name translates into Ogre Spider, who had been so wounded they couldn't move, allowed his body to become host to hundreds of demons in exchange for the jewel and Kikyo. Showed that Inuyasha and Kikyo fighting and killing each other. 500 years later, high school student Kagome Higurashi is dragged down into feudal Japan through a well in the family shrine thanks to the centipede demon, but it's revealed that Kagome is the reincarnation of Kikyo and as such has the Shikon jewel inside of her. She frees Inuyasha after having the jewel ripped from her body, and during a scuffle with a crow demon she ends up shattering it.
Wah, wah.
And so the journey begins. Along the way they meet Shippo, a young fox demon, Moroku, a monk with a literal black hole in his hand, thank you Naraku, who has a bad habit of doing, this.
I wish for you to bear me a son.
And Songo, the last surviving member of a clan of demon slayers. One way or another, everybody has been played by Naraku, directly or not. The black hole in Moroku's hand, family curse passed down from his grandfather while he was fighting Naraku. Songo, her entire clan was destroyed by Naraku, and her younger brother Kohaku was Naraku's undead puppet. Let's not forget about Inuyasha's older half-brother Sesshomaru. Because Sesshomaru is a full demon and Inuyasha is a half-demon, they really don't get along. I've heard of sibling rivalry, but this is ridiculous. Anyway, Sesshomaru was looking for their father's heirloom, which just happened to be a sword called Tetsuga, which can slay 100 enemies in a single stroke. Sesshomaru wasn't supposed to have it, but Inuyasha was, and used it to chop off Sesshomaru's left arm. Then there was Koga, the leader of the Wolf Demon tribe, who was tricked into thinking that Inuyasha killed his entire clan when it was really Kagome, one of Naraku's incarnations. Throughout the second season, Inuyasha learned how to use the Tetsuga's 2 main techniques, the Wind Scar, which cuts through swirling demonic auras in a powerful attack, and the Backlash Wave, which uses the Wind Scar to wrap around enemies' demonic aura and send it back at them. Just like what it did to Ryokotse, the demon that even Inuyasha's father couldn't kill, the demon who was one of the many factors that led to the death of Inuyasha's father.
And this is where the first of 4 movies comes in. See, this movie, while technically non-canon, acts as a bridge between Season 2 and Season 3, much like the original Transformers movie did back in 1986. So with that out of the way, let's dive right in.
So we open with the sacred jewel breaking apart, thank you Kagome, and the shards scattering all over the place. One of the shards ends up in a tree in a forest, revealing the big bad of the movie, a demon named Manomaru. He sends his 2 hench ladies, Ruri and Hari, out to find the Fang, and they come across Sesshomaru. One thing I didn't mention earlier is just how badass Sesshomaru is, and it shows it in this scene where he just bitch slaps the demon women away, killing them instantly. Manomaru brings them back to life because they had gone after the wrong Fang.
The Fang. Yeah, I forgot to mention that Inuyasha and Sesshomaru's swords, Tetsuga for Inuyasha as already said, and Tenseiga for Sesshomaru, were both forged by a swordsmith named Totosai at the commission of their father, and he used his own fangs to create them.
Cut to modern-day Tokyo. Well, okay, in the original manga it was 1997, as the manga was first published in 1996, but I digress. Kagome's younger brother Sota is hunting their grandfather, who's showing his amazement at the sacred tree blooming for the first time in 500 years. Speaking of Kagome, she's busy making breakfast for lunch.
Hey, have you ever had breakfast for lunch or breakfast for dinner? It's fucking awesome! Then again, it might be a Japanese thing. I don't know, I've never been to Japan. I'd like to go one day, but only time will tell if I can.
If you wonder where Kagome's dad is, well,
Yeah, supplementary material I've read reveals that her dad died in a car accident before Sota was born. Bummer.
And the reason the tree's blooming after 500 years, as Gramps pointing out, is because Kagome freed Inuyasha from the spell sealing him to the tree. Time travel's funny that way. And I'm not gonna lie, sushi aside, this stuff looks fucking delicious. Kagome packs up and heads down the well to the other world where Inuyasha and the gang are busy fighting a giant scorpion.
It's a poisonous insect from the mainland, called a scorpion, I think. What's it doing here?
By the mainland, he means China. I didn't know China had scorpions the size of semi-trucks. It's kind of scary, actually.
This fight takes up a majority of the opening sequence, and again, gotta be honest and say that it gets kinda jarring that the action is constantly interrupted by the credits sequence. Songo's feline companion Kilala and Moroku joining, with Shiko following them a few seconds later. By the way, this scene right here is pretty funny.
You're not hurt, are you?
Thanks so much, Moroku. You saved me. Keep your hands to yourself, pervert!
You misunderstand, Harry. I was just making sure that your flawless body wasn't harmed in any way.
Not necessary, thank you. Then there's Sasuke's faithful companion, the two-tailed demon cat Kilala.
Not important. Or is it?
Back with Kagome, she's on her way to meet up with everyone when she meets Miyoga, a flea demon and Inuyasha's advisor. Being a flea demon, always really good for his exposition and some admittedly funny bits of comic relief. She arrives just in time to help Inuyasha locate Jewel Shard and Scorpion, which she can do being the reincarnation of Kikyo and all, and defeat it. Booyah! Roku finishes the job by pulling the Scorpion into his wind tunnel, which is the true name of the black hole in his hand. Gotta make that curse useful somehow. Kagome takes the Jewel Shard off the Scorpion's corpse, purifying the demonic aura. Again, it helps to be the reincarnation of a powerful priestess. The Scorpion dead and Minoru preparing to make his move. The gang sets up for a picnic. The demon really builds up an appetite, I guess. Everyone's a little skeptical about the food, but they decide to eat it anyway. Inuyasha going all jerk-ass and ship up for the last omelet. But in the end, he ends up insulting Kagome, which leads to...
Kagome, boil up some water for me, would ya?
Inuyasha? Sick boy!
I never get tired of seeing that.
That one looked like it hurt. And considering that Kagome wants to do him and cause him to drop a giant fucking bolt on his back, that's saying a hell of a lot. Kilala is suffering from some scorpion poison and some mysterious force draws her towards a nearby forest. Songo and Moroku, who follow Moroku trying and failing to carry Songo's big-ass boomerang called the Hiraikots. Meanwhile, with Kagome, she's still fuming about Inuyasha being an asshole, so much so that she ends up crashing her bike. Songo and Moroku find Kilala and in the care of two women whom Moroku instantly hits on because he's that much of a player.
Would you ladies kindly consider bearing my children?
Ouch.
Forgive me. It's hard to control myself around such beauties.
Who asked you?
Oh, do these women look familiar? They should. It's Rode and Heidi in disguise. They attack Moroku and Songo with tree roots, I guess. I hope we don't have an Evil Dead sequence here. Yeah, you know the one. Before sticking their scorpions on them. Moroku pulls the scorpions into his wind tunnel, but it turns out this is the opening Rode was waiting for, and she duplicates it.
You know, this is one of those moments where you really should read the fine print, lady. But since you're far too stupid to do that, let me fill you in on what happened to the last two people who had the wind tunnel, Moroku's father and grandfather. They died. Oh, I don't just mean dying of old age. Oh, no. Eventually, the wind tunnel got so large that they were pulled into it. Think about that for a moment, dear viewers. You have a black hole in your hand that with each passing day grows slightly larger. It's subtle, but you notice it. Eventually, it will get so large that it will pull you into the void, meaning that no matter how you slice it, you are dead. Because once you go in, you don't come out. I mean, sure, praying mantis demon managed to pull itself out, damaging the wind tunnel in the process, but it still got pulled in. So, I want you to stop and think about that for a moment. For your entire life, you're carrying around this endless void, and that one day it pulls you in. Okay, back to the review.
Roku closes up the wind tunnel before he pulls Sango in. Rudy, on the other hand, opens up her wind tunnel, nearly pulling them in. The only thing saving them is Roku's staff. She's interrupted by an arrow as she and Heidi escape on Kilala. Hey! Bring back our kitty! Turns out that the arrow was fired by Kaede, Kikyo's younger sister.
It's been 50 years. What were you expecting, a Victoria's Secret model?
While Sango changes into her Demon Slayer outfit, like she doesn't just wear her kimono, still baffles me, but whatever, and while Kaede is talking, Roku and Sango head off to track down Rody and Heidi. Speaking of Kikyo...
You're probably wondering just how the hell she's alive when earlier I said that she died 50 years ago thanks to the wounds inflicted to her during her fight with Inuyasha, thanks to Naraku's manipulations. Okay, to clear that up first, it was Naraku disguised as Inuyasha, but I digress. Well, do you want the long version or the short version?
Witnessing Urasui dug up Kikyo's grave, stealing her ashes and mixing them with clay to create a new body for Kikyo, which she then imbued with a portion of Kagome's soul. Because she's essentially a zombie walking around with a borrowed soul, she uses these creatures called soul collectors to, well, collect the souls of the dead and place them into her own body so that she can continue to quote-unquote live.
That was the long version. Short version is a witch did it.
Kikyo stops to reminisce of the tree she sealed Inuyasha to when Kagome arrives. See, this ties into one of the elements of the series, the love triangle between Inuyasha, Kagome, and Kikyo.
Now, you could say that Inuyasha has a thing for dead chicks, but that would make you one sick bastard. No, Inuyasha's problem is that he feels guilty due to the part he played in Kikyo's death, whether it was his fault or not. You really can't blame him. After all, he spent 5 decades stuck to that tree thinking that he was the one who caused Kikyo to die, while also believing that Kikyo had turned against him. It's really complicated, but to sum it up, Kikyo equals guilt trip. And because of this, Kagome feels like the third wheel here. She's from a completely different point in time, yet she's gotten so much closer to Inuyasha than Kikyo ever did. Now, I'm not going to lie. I think Kagome is a much better match for Inuyasha because Kikyo has kind of a dull personality anyway. But the whole thing with Kikyo is actually very tragic and heartbreaking, especially near the end of the series where she dies again, and unlike when she almost died during the Band of 7 arc in Season 5, she stays dead permanently, and unlike when the rest of the gang almost died during that time, Inuyasha doesn't bother hiding his tears this time. And if you're like me and you watch the show from episode 1, up until then, you'd probably feel just like he did, because for the second time in his life, Inuyasha watched the woman he loves dies, and once again, there's nothing he can do about it. You may not know this, but I've gone on record saying that the death of Littlefoot's mother in The Land Before Time, my favorite movie ever, is the saddest moment ever put on the film, and I hold true to that, but Kikyo's second and final death in Season 8 of this show is the saddest moment ever put onto television, or if you want to go off the manga, put on paper. And again, giving you context is one thing, but unless you've actually watched the show from episode 1, I'm not sure if you'll understand.
Kikyo gets a feeling that someone might be hunting Inuyasha, and that's when Kagome arrives. She hides from Kikyo, but figuring that she's got no reason to do so, comes out of hiding only to find Kikyo gone.
Ninja vanish!
Inuyasha's Shippo and Myoga, meanwhile, are hunting Kagome. Inuyasha spots Kikyo's soul collectors and heads to the forest, leaving Myoga and Shippo behind. Kagome decides that now would be a good time to remember about how she and Inuyasha met at this tree. Something in the trunk catches her attention. She decides to investigate but gets a cut finger for her troubles. After a short inner monologue, "Oh hi Inuyasha," he uses a handkerchief to bandage up Kagome's finger, and they start to leave after Kagome accuses Inuyasha of coming after Kikyo, but a strange powder starts falling from the sky. Something always has to ruin the moment. Turns out that the powder is poison powder coming from a swarm of moths. Inuyasha attacks the moths, but there's so damn many and they're so small that his attacks are useless. He's ready to use Tetsaiga, but just then the moths converge to form Minomaru. And Minomaru instantly attacks Inuyasha.
Kagome,
Can't hold it anymore.
idiot!
What did you expect, Inuyasha? She's only human, unlike you, who's part demon.
The fight reveals that Tetsaiga is knocked out of Inuyasha's hand. He decides to just use his claws to chase Minomaru off, but that works about as well as you'd expect, which is not at all, because he only succeeds in getting Minomaru's sword through his stomach. Ouch.
You know, for the longest time I questioned why Inuyasha didn't just change into his demon form and finish off Minomaru there after losing Tetsaiga. And I still have two reasons for this. One, the plot demands it. That's pretty obvious. I mean, if Minoru died right there, we wouldn't have much of a movie now, would we? But the other reason is that I think in the time between Ryokose's death and now, Inuyasha has learned to control his demon blood. See, here's the thing about Tetsaiga. Other than being forged by Inuyasha's father to protect his human mother, who we'll meet in the third movie, and other than being able to slay 100 enemies in a single stroke, it was also made a means to keep Inuyasha's demon blood in check. As two demons in Season 2, Goshinki, an offshoot of Naraku, and a moth demon named Katenmaru found out the hard way, if Inuyasha is separated from Tetsaiga, be it by having it knocked from his hand, or in Goshinki's case, bitten in half, and his life is in danger, his demon blood will take over. And he becomes a homicidal maniac who, on both occasions, came dangerously close to attacking his friends, or in the one case, after killing Katenmaru, he proceeded to kill several unarmed people who were begging for their lives. But he also changed during his fight with Ryokose, but he managed to stay in control long enough to take Tetsaiga back. Since then, he hasn't really changed unless you count during a dream sequence, or, as is the case in the second movie, having his human side removed from the equation. So, I think he's learned how to keep his demon blood in check, because if not only would he have killed Minoru right here, but it's very possible that Kagome might have died by his hands as well. And considering that at this point he still feels responsible for Kikyo's death, I think the guy would take that pretty hard.
Minoru tries to take Tetsaiga, but its barrier prevents him from touching it. Time for Plan B. What is Plan B? Take Kagome and use her as bait. Haven't seen that plan in action before. Inuyasha wakes up sometime later after Shibba Myoga patched him up a bit, and after an info dump from Myoga,
He is the only son of Hyoga, an infamous demon from the continent. I don't like the sounds of this. Indeed, 200 years ago, a huge Mongol army from the continent began an attack. Demons led by Hyoga came here to snatch the souls of those killed in battle. At that time, your father ruled the regions of the west. Hyoga and your father battled ferociously, calling forth thunder and winds and causing a terrible, violent storm. Using one of his fangs, your father sealed Hyoga away, and thus, I understand, chased the foreign demons back to the continent.
Inuyasha heads off to find Minoru and rescue Kagome. Minoru set up shop at a place called the Tree of Ages in the Forest of No Return. As he prepares for Inuyasha to show up, he tasks Rody and Hardy with keeping an eye on Kagome. Hardy tries to give Kagome a Magatama stone, but Kagome's spiritual powers just push it away, so Minoru has Hardy combine the Magatama with the sacred jewel shard used to wake him up. This is enough to wake Kagome up, and she actually threatens the trio of evildoers, holding them at arrow point. Curses moths! Well, they're disgusting creatures to begin with. Oh, hi Songa and Moroku, haven't seen you two in a while.
Fight time!
Songa takes on Hardy with her right codes, Hardy using a pair of broadswords, while Moroku deals with Rody. Even though we only see Moroku and Rody going at it for a few seconds, it's still a pretty cool fight with the quick movements and all. Kagome, meanwhile, shoots at Minoru, but misses.
Well, you tried.
I give Kagome props for trying to be badass, but she really can be when she wants to assassinate Naraku. That's not enough to deter Minoru. The Windscar, on the other hand, is. Minoru actually manages to deflect the Windscar, making him one of the few villains to be able to do so.
Yeah, Kagura actually beat into it because when she was first introduced, she actually managed to cancel out the Windscar. How? She controls the wind.
Rody and Hardy leave with Kilala, leaving everyone else alone to tangle with Minoru. Inuyasha manages to hit Minoru with the Windscar, knocking him out. Because Minoru gets his powers from his dormant father Hyoga, he can heal himself and keep himself from dying. So Inuyasha uses the Windscar again. But this is exactly what Minoru wanted, to have Inuyasha use the Tetsaiga to break the seal holding his father so that he can inherit his father's powers and become the new Lord Hyoga. They have Xanatos to be impressed. With the seal broken, the tree starts to collapse around them. They barely manage to get out and watch as the cocoon holding Hyoga rises up from the earth. Minoru emerges with the cocoon to get his father's power, and even though Inuyasha tries to take Minoru down, he just keeps getting big slapped aside by Minoru's barrier. Inuyasha's determined, gotta give him that. Minoru's next attack is enough to cause an explosion that will make Frieza proud. The entire group is once again separated, and with them out of the way, Minoru uses the Tree of Ages to start harvesting the souls of everything on the planet. Kaede manages to keep her village safe by putting up a barrier, but it doesn't last for so long. After all, Kaede is much older and not as powerful as Kikyo or even Kagome. Speaking of Kagome, she shows up carrying Shibbo and passes out. Oh, and the monster going after Sesshomaru. Dumb idea. But don't worry, it's Talking to the rescue. Time for comedy!
Excellent aim, Lord Sesshomaru.
So it seems Yoga has been resurrected.
The moths are all gone, my lord. No, don't leave me, Lord Sesshomaru.
Alas, the dismal fate of Jockin.
The next morning shows that Song of Morocco has taken refuge in a river cave along with a Tanuki named Hachi, a close acquaintance of Moroku's. Moroku and Songo convince Hachi to take them back to the Tree of Ages to both save Kilala and put a stop to Rori from using the wind tunnel. As for Inuyasha, the guy's taken one hell of a beating, but he's still pushing on. Myoga's pleading with Inuyasha to wait and become as tough as his dad was, but Inuyasha's not having any of that shit and leaves Myoga behind, making his way back to the Tree of Ages. I guess being an evil asshole gets boring after a while because Mononoke decides to entertain himself. How? By taking control of Kagome's body using the jewel-enhanced Magatama that Hari gave her earlier and having her attack Kaede. You wanna know what's really fucked up about this? Kagome knows what's going on, she just can't do anything about it. But Nomaru, you sadistic son of a bitch. Inuyasha arrives at the bridge leading to the village and meets Kagome, who instantly attacks him. This leads to a chase scene through the canyon and back to the tree where Inuyasha has been before. Kagome regains temporary control of herself thanks to Song of Morocco distracting Mononoke. Morocco, meanwhile, is trying to pull Mononoke into his wind tunnel but is met by Rori's duplicate wind tunnel. The wind tunnel was actually one of the coolest scenes in the movie, hell, in the series in general, despite the fact that it's just one big war of attrition. Songo tries to help Morocco but is intercepted by Hari and Kilala. Kagome's free will doesn't last long as Mononoke takes control again, and in some cruel irony makes Kagome shoot Inuyasha, pinning him to the tree just like Kikyo did 50 years ago. Kagome manages to break free of Mononoke's control permanently this time, and understandably starts warning about potentially killing Inuyasha. Oh, hi, Kikyo. She tells Kagome to go back to her own time where it started snowing because, time travel's funny that way.
Do you remember earlier when I said that the series rarely talks about the consequences of time travel? Well, this winter isn't exactly tied to that. Okay, maybe it is. But it's still an effect of everything happening back in the other world.
The sun of winter causes the flowers on the tree to wither and die. Kikyo forces Kagome to go home just before the well that acts as a bridge between the two worlds is completely overtaken by roots. Well, Kagome's back in her own world now, but the only thing she can do is mope. Can't say as I blame her, because I'd probably do the same thing if I almost killed my best friend. By the way, welcome to winter. I'm curious, does it actually snow that much in Japan during the winter months? So does assisting Grampus in ritual prayers to try to get the snow to stop, but we all know that it's not going to work. And I wasn't joking when I said the only thing Kagome does is mope. That's what she does for the next 5 to 10 minutes, but again, I don't blame her. Though we do get his chat with her mom. Meanwhile, back at the plot, Moroku and Rudy are still having that wind tunnel duel, and Rudy brings the fight in closer. Songo, meanwhile, is still fighting Hari and Kilala. For understandable reasons, Songo can't bring herself to fight her feline friend, even if Kilala is under Mononoke's influence. All of this is going on, so Shimura and Kikyo meet for the first time and have a conversation that might as well be summed up as, "So, yo, the end!" Seriously, they only meet for all of 30 seconds. I would gladly defend the series as my favorite anime, but was there a point to that? Well, I guess it's time to meet up with Kaede and Shippo. Even Shippo, being able to transform, has chosen the form of My Little Pony. They find the Bony as well completely overtaken by a full-on tree, and they also find Inuyasha's unconscious body. Yeah, this is where that talk with Kagome's mom I mentioned earlier happens. The jewel shard Kagome has starts to glow, proving that she is still connected to the other world. Moroku and Rudy are still fighting. This bitch just won't quit! She opens the wind tunnel again, this time nicking it with her spear, causing it to grow. But as I said earlier, she didn't read the fine print, otherwise she'd have known she'd get pulled into the void.
Bye.
Mark off one Mook. You're next, Hari.
Songo manages to break Kilala free from Mononoke's influence, and they both take down Hari.
Mark off Mook number 2. Now all we gotta do is take care of the boss. Somehow.
Back in Kagome's world, she actually starts talking to Inuyasha through the tree, which I guess is also connected to the other world. I don't know if that's because of the time travel or what, but after everything Sota and Gramps have seen at this point, this is where they draw the line when it comes to Kagome's sanity. Inuyasha gives Kagome the idea to use the sacred arrow to break through the tree blocking the Bonin as well, and cross back over to the other side, and... Okay, Kagome, look, I love you, but why do you insist on playing demons and ghouls in your school outfit? I think the Kikyo cosplay is appropriate enough. Alright, not enough fan service. May I remind you that Kagome is only 15? Well, at least she's wearing more clothes than the fucking Sailor Moon. Kagome makes it back to the other side and, oh, nice, break the ancient well. Do you know how hard it is to come by the wood to make that thing? It ain't exactly cheap. Oh, hi Inuyasha. Nice to see you back on your feet, bro. Now let's go kick some ass. Well, Hyoga's incubation period is complete. Shit's about to hit the fan. But it's not like this sort of thing has ever deterred our heroes before. Hell, in one way or another, they face all sorts of eldritch abominations on an almost weekly basis. As for Hyoga himself, he's big. And he must have some terrible breath because that's all it takes to knock Inuyasha back. Hyoga summons thousands of demons to fight Inuyasha and company, but come on, these mooks are small fry compared to some of the crap our heroes deal with. Hyoga says that the best way to defeat them, by extension Hyoga, is to combine the Windscar with Kagome's arrow before promptly running away. But there's just so damn many. Oh, thank God we got Demon Slayer and Walking Black Hole on our side. Inuyasha tries to attack Hyoga head on, but his attacks prove pretty useless as Hyoga can just brush the Windscar aside.
You've witnessed my power and you still wish to defy it. Come at me then.
You got 2 legs and a heartbeat. What's stopping you?
So Inuyasha and Kagome take Hyoga's advice, and to make a long story short, Hyoga's demons are defeated, Hyoga's defeated, and Hachi picks up her heroes as the tree of ages collapses, ending the movie.
So yeah, that was the movie, and to be honest, it's okay.
I mean, it's not my favorite of the 4 movies. No, that would be the 3rd one, and I'll explain when we get there. But this is still rather enjoyable. The animation is a step up from the series itself, and the character designs are more akin to their manga counterparts. I'd be lying if I said that the pacing didn't seem to drag at times, but this stuff plays with a number of potential women are entertaining, and at times very fun to watch.
Can the same be said for the 2nd movie? Well, we'll find out next time when we take a look at Inuyasha 2, Castle Beyond the Looking Glass.
I dreamed I was missing. You were so scared, but no one would listen, 'cause no one else cared. After my dreaming, I woke with this fear. What am I leaving when I'm done here? So if you're asking me, I want you to know, when my time comes, forget the wrong that I've done. Help me leave behind some reasons to be missed. Don't resent me, and when you're feeling empty, keep me in your memory. Leave out all the rest. Leave out all the rest. Don't be afraid of taking my beating, of shit that I made. I'm strong on the surface, not all the way through. I've never been perfect, but neither have you. So if you're asking me, I want you to know, when my time comes, forget the wrong that I've done. Help me leave behind some reasons to be missed. Don't resent me, and when you're feeling empty, keep me in your memory. Leave out all the rest. Leave out all the rest. Forgetting all the hurt inside you've learned you had so well. Pretending someone else can come and save me from my...
One more thing!
Hey, what do you say I make another special lunch?
Sure, as long as you put in that stuff I like. You know, the yellow stuff.
My yummy egg omelet?
No, I don't think it was egg. It